There are moments on reality TV when everything stops feeling like a show. No producers, no cameras, just raw, unfiltered humanity. And what happened with Kimmi Scott on Love and Marriage Huntsville was exactly that. Not a storyline, not a planted confession. This was something deeper, something that pulled the audience in, left them speechless, and reminded everyone watching that pain doesn't discriminate. Even when you're a fan favorite on TV, from the beginning, Kimmi has always stood out on the show, not just for her intelligence and grace, but for the way she handled chaos with calm precision, while others fell into shouting matches or drama loops. Kimmi would often sit back, observe, and when she finally spoke, it was with purpose that strength became her identity, the unshakable one. But as fans now know, even the strongest break. And when she did, it hit like a freight train. It didn't start with tears. It started with silence. That episode was meant to be light, a casual gathering, just a simple sit-down. But Kimmi barely spoke. Her energy was different. Fans noticed. Her smile felt thinner, her voice lower. Her eyes wandered when others talked. And then it happened. Someone asked a question that sliced through her armor like a knife. "How are you really doing?" No deflection, no TV smile, just a pause, then a deep breath. And when she finally spoke, you could feel every word before it left her lips. Her voice trembled. Her body shifted. She wasn't just answering for the cameras, she was answering for herself. What she shared in that moment wasn't just emotional, it was soul-shaking. Kimmi had been fighting a private health battle quietly, with almost no one fully knowing how serious things had gotten. She didn't name every diagnosis. She didn't lay out medical charts. But she didn't have to. Coop could see it in her eyes, hear it in her voice. This was the face of someone who had spent months pretending everything was okay when it absolutely wasn't. Her husband Maurice, sitting beside her, didn't say a word at first. He didn't need to. He just reached over and held her hand, locking in with a kind of look only couples who've been through fire can give. No dramatic monologue, just presence, solid, unmoving support. The other cast members, they sat frozen. Letitia, who's had her fair share of ups and downs with Kimmi, instinctively offered a tissue, sliding her chair closer like all the tension from the past had just melted away. Melody, usually one of the more outspoken voices in the room, was silent, just watching, eyes wide, hands clenched. Like everyone else, she was watching a woman unravel, but in the most beautiful way possible. Because this wasn't weakness. This was power. Kimmi didn't fall apart. She opened up, and when she did, she pulled everyone into her world. One filled with fear, exhaustion, a kind of bravery that rarely gets the spotlight on reality TV. What made it even more powerful was that this wasn't just about Kimmi. It was about every viewer who saw themselves in her. The moms holding it together for their kids. The wives pretending everything's fine while silently crumbling inside. The friends who smile in public but break down alone. Kimmi's breakdown became their release, and almost instantly the internet exploded. Hashtags, fan art, emotional videos. Even people who had never watched the show were suddenly talking about that moment, because when real pain meets real courage, it echoes far beyond the screen. And Kimmi's voice, soft and shaking as it was, reached millions. Kimmi didn't set out to become a symbol of strength that day, but that's exactly what happened. As soon as the episode aired, the response was overwhelming. Social media turned into a digital prayer circle. Prayers for Kimmi trended across platforms. People from all over country and beyond posted their own stories of pain, of carrying, silent battles, of breaking down when no one was looking. And in every one of those stories, Kimmi was the spark that made them feel seen. What struck people wasn't just the tears. It was how intentional she was in that moment. Her voice didn't crack from fear. It cracked from the weight of everything she had held in death, and when she spoke, she did it not to shock anyone, not to gain sympathy. but to finally release something that had been festering quietly under the surface. Her honesty wasn't performative. It was necessary. And behind that necessary honesty was something bigger. Her health. For a long time, fans had speculated that Kimmi was dealing with more than she let on. Subtle changes in her energy, less camera time, a more subdued presence in group scenes, but now it all made sense. She had been fighting a personal war with her own body, undergoing treatment, balancing doctor visits, managing gunsurty, all while being expected to film, smile, and show up as the strong one. Most people can't imagine what that's like. And the fact that she still showed up anyway, that's a different kind of heroism. Morris knew he had been by her side through the hardest nights, the quiet ones, the ones with unanswered questions and restless sleep, the ones where she had to fake being okay for the world and for their family. But even he looked visibly shaken when she broke down on camera. Not because Hay hadn't seen it before, but because this time she was letting the whole world in. That decision changed everything. It flipped the narrative from entertainment to real-life empathy. People didn't just see a cast member. They saw a woman, a wife, a mother, a fighter. And suddenly, the show's drama faded into the background. The real story wasn't about relationships or feuds. It was about resilience, about what it looks like to carry yourself with grace, when everything inside you feels like it's falling apart. And then there were the unexpected reactions. Letitia, who had been one of Kimmi's most complicated relationships on the show, became one of her most tender supporters in that moment. Her small gesture, a quiet slide of the chair, a tissue handed over without a word, said more than years of dialogue ever could. Sometimes when words fail, presence is enough. And that day, Letitia showed up in the most human way. Even the crew, who are trained to keep their distance, felt it. One of the camera operators later admitted that filming that scene was the hardest moment of their career. "We're used to drama," they said. "We're not used to pain this real." And the pain didn't just stay on set. Fans shared stories of their own losses, diagnoses, and quiet struggles in comments and posts. People connected in ways the show had never seen before. Kimmi had unknowingly opened a door for collective healing. And whether she meant to or not, she gave people permission to drop their own masks for a moment and just feel. Because that's what vulnerability does. It doesn't just crack you open. It cracks open everyone watching. And when it's real, it's unforgettable. In the days that followed, Kimmi became more than a cast member. She became a mirror for so many people holding it together on the outside while quietly unraveling inside. Her moment of truth didn't just resonate, it lingered. Viewers weren't just watching TV anymore. They were witnessing something deeply personal unfold in real time. And it forced a lot of them to stop and ask themselves, "Me, okay?" What made this moment even more remarkable was how it shifted the dynamics of the entire cast. The typical tension, the back-and-forth drama, the pointed jabs that reality TV thrives on. It all seemed to fade into the background, at least for a while. There was a quiet solidarity forming. Even cast members who rarely saw eye to eye with Kimmi found themselves drawn into her gravity. Some reached out privately, offering support, while others used their platforms to speak on the importance of mental and physical health. The show for once wasn't about conflict. It was about connection. But the spotlight that comes with vulnerability isn't always kind. While the majority of viewers rallied behind Kimmi, there were critics to dot the kind of cold, detached voices that lurk in comment sections and question everything. "She's doing it for attention. Why air something so personal on TV? This really the place for this kind of thing?" And yet, that criticism was met with even louder pushback. Fans weren't having it. They defended Kimmi fiercely, not just because they admired her, but because they saw themselves in her. People who have never dared to speak about their own pain found strength in her courage. And that kind of impact, that's bigger than a TV moment. Kimmi herself remained quiet in the aftermath. No grand interviews, no emotional statements, just quiet presence. She posted a simple thank you on her social media, acknowledging the outpouring of love and expressing gratitude without making it about herself. That's who she's always been. Graceful in every sense of the word. What came next wasn't dramatic. It wasn't scripted or flashy. It was subtle. Like the way conversations around the show started changing, more fans began talking about health awareness. More people checked in on friends and loved ones. Messages like "just wanted to say I love you" or "how are you really doing" started showing up in inboxes everywhere. Kimmi's breakdown had done something rare. It shifted the culture at least a little. It's what makes it unforgettable. Not just the tears, not just the silence, but the ripple effect. When someone who's always been the strong one finally admits they're not okay, it gives the rest of us permission to do the same. And that moment caught on camera was the catalyst for something way bigger than a scene on a show. Years from now, when people look back at Love and Marriage Huntsville, this won't be remembered as just another emotional episode.